Welcome everybody. We are graced with the presence of greatness today. Xander Tyler, to the billions of fans out there, I'm one of them by the way, you are known as Jack Parow.
Lekker om je te wees. Good to be here.
So awesome to be sitting next to you even, and never mind interviewing you. So before we get into it, I want to just speak about who you are. You're an absolute loving father, you're an entrepreneur, you are a trendsetter, you are just an awesome, cool guy and an alpha male. Glad to have you here.
Yeah,
sir.
nice. Alpha male, I like that.
Good stuff. So before we get into it, I would like some of our viewers and your fans to perhaps get something out of this interview that they never knew about you. And I like to share war stories of where I failed in business, because that's where the lesson came out, and that's what the viewers out there can take away and say, okay, he did it this way, maybe I can adjust one or two things and get a different result. Are you ready?
Yeah,
So,
ready.
Let's get into your past. I think if you can close your eyes and you are 17 again, what are your priorities? What are you thinking about? Who are you? How are you walking? How are you talking?
Well, at 17, I think I was really, I was obviously really into rap music. It was all I listened to. It was kind of crazy. I actually only listened to stuff like any rock and roll, even stuff like Bob Dylan and stuff like that. I only discovered after school.
Okay.
I was just so enthralled in in rap music that I didn't listen to anything else. And I was still a lighty. Obviously, I was trying to figure out what I was going to do, and obviously, I never thought I could make rap music for a living. It was like so far. It was so far away from my mind that could happen. So I actually just started just trying to figure out what I was going to do, and I actually used to go to a lot of drum and bass parties at this place in Cape Town called The Jam back in the day, but it's now something different. And then there was this party called Homegrown, and there was this really pretty girl there, and we called her the Goddess.
Oh wow!
And we found out she's studying at City Varsity.
Okay.
And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna go study at City Varsity. And then I went literally and studied at City Varsity just to meet this girl. Beautiful. And then when I was first year, she had left, so she was a year before she was fourth year. And then I missed her, but then that was the best thing I ever did. I actually went to go study there, and I studied multimedia design and graphic design, and it kind of really helped me way beyond because I wasn't sure what I was going to do, but I knew I wanted to do something creative and in the creative space. And then it actually just formed my whole life and my career. I use it so much in my music till today. I'm heavily involved with everything from my look and my vibe and my flyers to my social media to I think I also one good thing that happened through the start of my young years. I was very much into I was really a big gamer, and
okay.
I was really into I was working on my PC and stuff really hard, and I was
a surprise
pirating music and selling CDs at school. I actually would I think that's my
the burnable CDs. Yeah, I remember that.
And
yes.
Bernicula, and then the people at school would ask me what they want, because you couldn't get everything in South Africa at that time. There was still not everything.
Just to
wasn't
interrupt
coming in,
you, if you ever wondered where those CDs at the robots came from,
I was it's all me.
Here's your guy.
That's how I started, and then I would get the orders at school, and then I'd go home and go sit with my dial-up connection and download it and write it and sell it.
That nice sound.
Yeah, and stuff like that. So always hustling forever and ever. I don't even know where this question, where I was going with this question, but anyway, that was where I was at 17.
I'll tell you where I was at 17.
Small-time criminal.
Small-time criminal. I think 17 boys are normally just, a little bit lost. You're not sure what you want to do yet, but you're touching here, the drum and bass, and then, doing CDs, taking orders, very creative.
Yeah.
It's amazing. On the CD topic, I want to ask you a question. What is the first CD that you ever bought legally that you didn't burn off the internet with your dial-up connection?
Yeah, well,
first CD.
Luckily before I started with the dial-up connections, I was always when I was standing 4, Because before that, I'm a big fan. Like I would listen with my sisters, would listen to, or my parents would listen to.
They're older than you.
Yeah, they're older than me. My sisters are 10 years older than me.
You're the youngest child.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So I would listen to a lot of David Kramer, and my parents were really into David Kramer, and like and then my sister's Koos Kombuis, Valiant Swart, like Johannes Kerkor, all that type of stuff. And then my mom, when I was at 4. So which was 1994, and then my mom bought me like one of those Monster Eats albums.
Okay, I remember
she was
that.
Like, yeah, and then she was like, so I can now figure out what I obviously like that, and like a little tiny CD player, and then on that album was Snoop Dogg's What's My Name, and then when I heard that, I was like, that's I only like, that's what I love, and then that was my first album as well, was Doggy Style from Snoop Dogg. And then just rap music from there on out, like Eazy-E, Snoop, obviously Dre, everything went through that whole like NWA kind of side of it, and then from that going to like stuff like Jay-Z and etc.
All the East Coast stuff,
yeah, and then
because initially it was just gangster rap and that was it, and then the East Coast stuff started coming up.
And I was really into rap music. Like I said, it's pretty much all I listened to, and then I went into trip hop and like the drum and bass and the stuff that went off it, but rap was definitely most of my childhood. Yeah.
Beautiful. So how does a young man get into performing? Number one, how do you overcome the fear? Because I can just, you're very talented and it's natural to you, but it's something that you worked on. What was the first time when you said, gather around, let me just spit a beat for you right here, right now? Can you remember that?
Well, it was like I wrote a lot from school already, and then as I said, I went to go. I first took a year off and just didn't do much. I just like rook dagga and fucking hang uit agter die fucking.
Just be young.
In surf and fucking.
Be young.
That didn't do a lot, and then I went to. And then I moved from there. I moved to and I started working at. I started studying in Cape Town. And then I kind of met a lot of like-minded people and people that were into the same stuff.
Creative people.
Yeah, and then I actually just realized that I can actually rap to people. It's not like such a thing that's so far away, because it was like there was a really good scene when I moved to Cape Town. It was a really big scene. It was that time of like Max Normal and the dope and the whole constructors scene, and the dope scene was like Marcus Wormstorm and Cybot and all these. Really, it was just cool. A really big rap scene, an alternative rap scene.
Yes.
And so I just went into that straight away. And also with the drum and bass stuff, there was always drum and bass MCs on stage, Skywalker and like MC Dread and Dreadlocks and like all these guys, and they kind of just started making friends with people in those scenes. And then I stayed in this house in Kloof Street. We were like 7 guys staying in this house at the top of Kloof. And then one guy who was actually from Benoni, and that's where that line comes from. Ek het vriende Benoni.
Jy het vriende in Swede, ek het vriende in Benoni.
His name was Herman, and he was like a pro rollerblader, and he had friends with like that kind, and they came to my house, and it was so weird because it was, then they had like they were like these Dennis and Anthony, and they were these like kids that were rapping, and then had this little crew, and then they were like, oh, I must come and join them.
Yeah.
And then I had to sit at the house like almost like soos 'n interview, en toe moes ek soos rap vir hulle 'n stukkie wat ek geskryf het.
Beautiful.
En toe and then that was how it started, and I learned so much from them, and then then I just started hanging out at like open mics, and like we did like battles. There was a lot of battles and stuff like that.
Did you enjoy that?
Yeah, I'm not a battle MC, but I would just do freestyle stuff at battles. I would never win battles because I never really battled. I just rap my stuff and kind of, and I grew up, because then there wasn't also, there wasn't like, it was also a very crazy scene, because it wasn't like now where there was no Afrikaans, like that was before Fuck Off, before everyone, there's no alternative Afrikaans scene. So it was just, I was rapping in like Mitchell's Plain at the taxi ranks, and like at like Shabeens and like all these like crazy places, not like stages. So that's also how I learned to work with like bad sound, good sound, everything. And then eventually I kind of worked from there to going to and then just like that, that's just how it grew. So it was a very natural process without me really realizing, I got used to, and I think I'm very thankful for that. I got used to being in front of people, from starting from a really small crowd, not being just thrown in front of a bunch of people in the deep end. Yeah, so it was a very gradual, and I think that's why also I'm still, you know, I still make music. I still work really hard. I still am super involved. Is because I started a very gradually up. So I really appreciate the space where I'm in, and I really work hard to stay there because I know how long the process took to get there.
I just want to stop you on that. That's a sign of a true professional. Somebody that inherits money, for example. Have you ever heard the story, you know, born into a rich family and just mess it up because they don't understand the process it took to get to that wealth. And everybody thinks it's easy because you started at the bottom, and good sound, bad sound, sometimes, you know, performing in front of the wrong crowd, if I may say, you know, people that might not like your look because you're in a certain area, other people love your look, but you took that adversity to where you are now, where you can perform in front of anybody. And you don't care because you've performed in front of everybody already.
And I think that's also, you know, like it's also like, because sometimes, you know, I'm playing in front of people that are, especially like say I'm playing like a corporate event, so someone's booked me for like the end of year function or something.
Yes.
And then I could be only like 10 people out of the 100 people might like me, but I still have to, but then I win them. And that's my favorite thing, if people come to me afterwards and say they didn't like me at all, but now they love me after they've seen my show. Because I think people also have a misconception of the type of person I am, and the type of, just about the music I make. They also have like a very much of a, can I have like a straight away a kind of adverse feeling towards rap music, because it's rap music, not even really understanding anything about it or understanding anything about me, or I've listened to any of my music. They might have just heard one song that they didn't like, but then they don't know any of the other stuff. So yeah, it is what it is, and I'm glad, and so it is, like you say, like, you know, there's a lot of one-hit wonders that have come and gone. People
got lucky.
Yeah, made a hit.
I call them the Macarenas. They got lucky, they made a hit, and then you never hear of them, because the moment that you have to reproduce that genius on paper, and you have to portray the message in front of a crowd, it becomes difficult, and they don't do it because they got that one hit. They don't know what it's like starting at the bottom. Amazing. I love your journey. And I think that's why the longevity of your career, you know, you can do this for the rest of your life. As soon as you don't want to do it anymore, then you can stop, but you'll be successful. I can feel it.
I hope so.
Yeah, I give you.
I'm in it now. I'm not. I'm going nowhere else.
And you're in it to win it, so definitely. So I love the journey. I love the process to the man that's sitting in front of us. If you could take maybe one thing back to the beginning, when you were starting out, you know, at the interview, when the two kids were interviewing you for their you know, for their rap band or rap group, what would you say as an artist is the most important thing that you could take back with you in the beginning of your career at this stage of your life?
Well, I think it is like just, probably every single artist says that, and it is just like to work better with, like from a financial point of view. But I'm very lucky. That being said, I did learn it quite early, so I'm still lucky to have been very successful and still do a lot of stuff but I think at the start I can also, like, actually I wouldn't actually do that, because I think also it is, you know, I think that was also part of it all. I had a Joel, I spent my money on a lot of cock, but it was blacker cock, so it made me who I am today. It made me the person I am, and it made me also appreciate it now, because the stuff I've built, and I'm still like crazy. I'm still like an insane hoarder, and I buy, like, I'm still into like the weirdest stuff, like super into toys and
comics.
It's like,
we had yesterday off camera discussion. Comics, awesome.
And like, and I'm like, I was yesterday. I got up at 6 in the morning to go to like second-hand markets, and I bought like a bunch of lekker goed, maar ook 'n klomp stupid goed wat ander mense will think is crazy.
But it's cool for you. Yeah, it's what makes you happy.
Yeah, and I like my space having like this almost like flippin' curated madness. Is my house is like that, and
is that how your brain works?
Yeah, I think
like you enjoy that.
Yeah.
Like me, nothing, no clutter, clean, just everything else. The distractions drive me crazy.
Yeah.
You thrive in that.
Yeah, if there's like this makes me think I can't focus in like
Everything is like this and lined up.
I need like I focus in like chaos, which is actually kind of strange, but that's how it works.
You're very creative. I think
I
that's
think
why.
it's also like all the little stuff. If I'm sitting writing, you know, for example, my office rug is like leopard print already, so that's already my brain is like, and because I think it weirdly focuses me in, so I don't think about, because I can easily lose train of thought, but if it's like colored in so much, then that my train of thought sticks to that process. I don't know, it's like I think so. Yeah.
You're a very creative, eccentric person. You're just a cool person. What's your spirit animal? If you could say, this is my spirit animal.
Well, probably a leopard.
A leopard.
I mean, it's probably
just chilled out, but can do the thing when it needs to be done.
Yeah,
Awesome.
very chill. I was like, watching this video. Someone sent me this video the other day, which was insane. And then they're sitting at like a rest stop in the Kruger, and you can actually get out, and you can see there's like a board. Yeah, you can get out and now go sit, and there's like a board that says like all the stuff about. There's a little walkway, and then it's like. They pan and they're like, yo, look, here's at this restaurant, there's the hand sanitizer, and look right behind the hand sanitizer, but you can't see it the whole video, and then there's a leopard sitting like right behind the
this guy's mad.
Yeah, I like that about a leopard as well. It's like so chilled and camouflaged, but when it's ready it attacks.
It will go 100%. So if you were to say in your career, in your journey to become who you are today, I love speaking about a landmine. So a landmine for me is making a mistake in business that put me back. I've made a mistake once that put me back a year. Mm-hmm. I didn't pay attention to creating leaders within the company. I bottlenecked the company and made all the difficult decisions come through me. That was a huge mistake. So that put me back a year. And I started from scratch. I had to let go. That was a landmine that I always teach our leadership teams. Don't always replace yourself. Like if you're good at something, make sure it's not only you. You get someone to be better, and then you go and look for something else that you're not good in to improve.
Yeah.
That was my landmine. If you were to say, Bobby, this is the one landmine that it was a aina. It blew my leg off. Maybe I can learn and the audience can learn from some of the mistakes you've made, so that we don't need to step on that specific one.
Yeah, I think from a landmine perspective, I think the biggest stuff I've learned probably, yes, I want to think now. I think I also agree a lot with that saying. I think, people, I rather put people in positions that around me that are better than me almost, so that I don't have to worry about those spaces, than try and save money or try and get someone and put someone that at the end I'm anyway doing all the work myself, or they slip up and they mess up. So I think it's always important for me to work with the best people and not have an ego around those things. And I also try and not have that, I think that's also a great thing I learned at college. At college, when I started studying, my lecturer would give everyone like really bad marks. They didn't tell us that, they only told us afterwards. So everyone got really bad marks for the first like 2-3 projects, because they wanted to show you that's what it is like in the real world. You're going to go, especially as a designer, you would go working with big companies and you might think this is the coolest thing ever, but the person you're pitching it to has a completely different look for or feel about their company, and they'll break you down and say this is I hate this or whatever, and you can't be like, well, like you don't know what you're talking about. You have to be like, okay, cool, we'll go back, we'll change it to what it is. Yeah. And I think that's an important thing that I learned, and that I, like, my ego at the start was, I think, really gave me a few landmines, as you said, where I tried to where I didn't want to work with people, or I didn't want to listen to people, and and might have burned some bridges, which I luckily later repaired. But it could have been a better start, I think, with that type of stuff.
Awesome. I want to share a story with you in our company. So, for example, we've got a massive wash bay, and the cars, for me, the cars came in this way. They were washed, they were reversed and parked at another place where they were vacuumed, and then they left. And we've got someone in the wash bay that said, I've got an idea. From now on, why don't we park the cars this way? We can get 2 extra cars washed every 10 minutes and we can be more productive. I looked at him, I'm like, wow. I said, everybody stop, the whole company. From today on, this is how the cars will stand, and this gentleman here has this idea and will be more productive. So everybody give him a round of applause.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
It's his idea. My idea worked, but not as good as his idea.
Yeah.
And that took me a very long time, because as a leader, you lead your people, and you want to know what you want to sound like, look like, and the lights and the sound, everything, the cameras. Yeah. But if you allow people to do what they do and you just do what you do, then ultimately everyone wins.
No, I agree. I think that's a great, I think that's a great quality of yours. In business it can be as well as, and I think a lot of businesses have sunk because of
ego.
Ego
is, I think any leader should have an ego. Me and you, we've got big egos. But learning to control the ego and only allowing it to come out when necessary, when other people aren't around, I think then it's healthy.
Yeah, definitely.
If you didn't have an ego, I've watched you play at the Sun Arena in Mainland. It was packed. How many people were there the last time you played?
I think like 5,000 or something.
5,000 people. A person without an ego will never be able to play, live with 5,000 people. You have to have an ego, but it needs to come out at the right time.
Exactly.
And only in the area where you are the master, not in others. So awesome. If we were to be hanging out together, let's say we go for lunch, who is Jack Parow? Who are you? Are you a loud person? Are you shy? Are you
I'm very reserved, actually. I'm very shy. I think I always make that joke of, I think the reason why I'm on the stage is because I didn't want to be between the people. So I tried to get away from them so far, but I still wanted to be at the party. So I think that I also my space. I live in Cape Town, and my house has become such a compound, because I rather braai at my house and have people I want to hang out with around me than go out a lot.
It's a private person.
Yeah. I think private is maybe a way, but also just private is probably a thing. But I think also just the problem is I'm also if I'm speaking with someone or hanging out with people, I want to hang out with them. But and I love it. I'm not saying I don't like it, but when I go out, there's always someone wanting to talk to me or taking and I think it's more even my friends that I think who come and visit me that deserve going to me to hang out with me, and then other people are completely taking all my attention, and so I think that's why I tend to spend a lot of time at home, and also 2 days out of a week I'm on the road most of the time now. 2 years of rest I had, but now it's getting back to that where when I'm home I don't want to. I try and rest so I can get, when the next weekend comes, I'm ready to jolly again and play shows.
So work ethic is something we've got right up here in our company. If you don't mind, my day starts at 4 a.m. and it stops at 10 p.m. Monday to Friday. Saturdays, same, 4 a.m. to 10 p.m. Sundays, just for my wife. I do nothing else. Just me and my wife, chill, hang out. When you're traveling, what is a busy week for you? What time do you wake up? Do you fly all the time?
Yes, when
schedule.
December's obviously my worst time, but usually I try Monday is my say Sunday.
Okay.
Monday I try and take off, because I usually go, because I work from, but I never do actually, but I'm supposed to, but I don't. But so I usually would choose that. But obviously working the whole week, meetings, work with. Interviews, sponsors, everything, all that type of stuff. Also working on new music or working on punting shows, and I have a team that helps me, but I do all my social myself. I'm very much a control freak when it comes to
you're the brand.
Yeah,
you're the brand.
Do that. So and then on a Friday I fly out and I go and I play shows, and on a Sunday I travel obviously back usually. So I only get back in the afternoon on a Sunday. So Mondays I try and take a little bit easier. I'll say I don't. I won't get up at like 6 in the morning, or I'll try and lie in bed a bit longer.
Yeah,
but then I also have a bloody trainer who comes there every morning from to my house, because I'm not good going to the gym. So he also gets there every morning from 8 till 9. So that also is another thing. So I don't really actually do it, but I think in COVID, which was obviously a crazy time for a lot of people, I learned a lot of lessons how tired I actually was, because I was playing averaging 3 shows a week, and just
at different locations,
yeah,
not at
just
the
all
same
time.
location.
So when I'm touring, it's very hectic. Then it goes, for example, in December now I played 13 shows in 16 days.
Jeez, all in different towns.
Yeah, all in different towns.
You live in your car.
Yeah, I was supposed to go, but then we got red listed. I was actually going to go to London and to Europe on tour as well, which have been even more hectic.
I hope it happens for you.
Yeah, I just got shifted to April, so now it's in April.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so usually, because that's how I usually do. I usually go to Europe in November, and then in December I come back to South Africa. I do South Africa, and then I do so it's every day another place. But I'm playing, so I get up in the morning at 6. We have to drive. We catch a flight and then land. Then all day I'm setting up. Then play the night. Then I go. Then I only maybe play at 11 till 12 or so. Then I do autographs and photos and stuff. Then I finish up, pack up. Then maybe I get to my hotel at 3 o'clock. Then I'm trying to fall asleep. Then I have to wake up at 6 again, 7 again. Then I travel, drive. I also drive myself, because luckily my guitarist is now getting his license finally at 38. So then he can also drive sometimes.
He can help you out.
So I drive a lot. So it's just tiring, yeah.
How do you perform in front of 5,000 people and then go and sleep? How do you take yourself from that to here in a controlled way? Do you have a method? Do you have a system?
No, I mean, it's just that adrenaline. My shows are really high energy, so I think.
I know. I've been to a couple. Yeah.
Yeah. So it just eventually, my body just goes. It does fall asleep at some point. But I'm also I'm having Jägermeisters and stuff and all that stuff, and also you forget that sugar only kicks in a few hours later. So I'm when I'm in bed in the hotel, I'm sugar rushing. But but it's all fun. I love it a lot. But what I want to say, in COVID, I just learned that I need to rest as well. So
your body needs that.
Yeah, and I think creatively as well. As soon as I rested, and it almost as if ideas and things just started coming out of me automatically.
100%.
And that is a big thing that I've also learned, and a big thing in life I've learned is creative. To be creative, you must rest. It's the only way. And then because ideas and that, you can't just sit and and force it. It needs to come naturally. And if you're not rested, that process can't happen. Yeah.
That's stress. What's the best advice you've ever received from someone?
I think, I've had so much good advice, but I think someone, when I just started, someone told me, because I was very nervous. Obviously, my stuff was very hectic, and no one was really swearing a lot in Afrikaans. And Afrikaans was quite a conservative language back then.
Your first song, when it came out, Dink is cooler as Ekke. I was like, what is this? Yeah. I was like, what?
And people, and obviously a lot of people freaked out. And I was, and then my friend just said, don't worry. At the beginning, you do, and you give people what they like. You give people the stuff, and you take it, and you give people what they want, and then you tell them what they want. And I think that was a great thing, just looking at.
When you get enough attention, that's great advice, by the way.
Yeah.
Where in the beginning, you give people, and then you tell them this is what you want, because now the attention is there.
Exactly.
You've already built up an audience. That's great advice.
And I think also,
that's awesome.
people do. I think with people that do the same kind of style as me and that are trying to do something different and something that are scared, I think it's also like don't like listen to the haters. I mean, they just disappear eventually in any way. But at the start, if no one's talking about you and no one's being anti and being like, then you're not doing something right. You're doing the wrong thing. There will always be people who are jealous, people who don't agree with your points of view, anything. I mean, like in any way. You can be Mother Teresa. There's people who are anti. Like it will happen.
It will happen, yeah.
And especially if you're doing something that hasn't been done, or you're doing something that's maybe shocks people, or something that's like a bit more left or anything like that, you will get hate, and that destroys a lot of people, because people online especially are really nasty, and they will say things behind curtains that they would never say to your face. And I mean, that's happened to me a million times, and I love it, and I also laugh at it. When people
you give some great responses.
Say horrible things to me.
You give some great responses. I've seen
sometimes when I'm like at the garage and it's taking too long to put that, and then I look and then I'm like, oh, I'm just going to reply to this one. And then
your responses are good.
Respond a lot. But
when you do, they are very powerful.
So I think it's also about like filtering like the constructive criticism with just people just hating on you, and it's an important thing. And there's a girl that's coming out now, which I spoke to yesterday, who's I think also quite who I really like, also a rapper girl. And then she I think is also going to have some. She's doing a lot of the stuff that, or she's like a lot of the same journey I had at the start. She's going to have, and I think important thing she should know is that.
Something you just said, you are the OG in South Africa. You are the person to come to now and ask for advice. Listen, I want to get into this. Do you realize that?
Yeah, I mean, I think I realized that in some way because you know, I also had guys. I had guys who took me under their wings and looked after me at the start of my career. Like guys like Knoffelbrein from Brasse van die Kaap, and Isaac Mutant, who is like said to have been the first person to rap in Afrikaans, and like so a few of these. Even though David Kramer always tells me he was the first person to rap in Afrikaans because he had that I think sitting in the chukkie, that's no fun. He says that's the first rap even Afrikaans, which is also probably true. But yeah.
Number one, it's awesome that people are reaching up to you to just pick your brain. This is what I want to do. And number two, that you are giving them that attention and that advice. It's beautiful.
Yeah, when I get the chance, I mean, I'm always happy to give advice when I have the chance and can give it to them.
It takes a village to raise a man. So if there was just off the top of your head 3 people that you can think of like this that were influential in your life, who are the 3 people?
Well, definitely my parents. They were super supportive, even though I was completely insane and obviously just like causing so much trouble and swearing and making like music that is so far like but
so
my
different.
mom,
so different.
But my mom is like my biggest fan. She is like,
really.
She loves it. That's like
amazing.
She called me like when I was young. Her nickname was so I from the start knew I was gonna be well, let's say push face.
Okay.
And then she knew it was that's just how my mom is. She's the coolest. She's like really, and she's like. So people like gravitate towards her. She's like she's a really strong and really, really amazing woman, and so I think she was definitely a big one. And then I was lucky also at the start. Piet Pinaar, who's a really legendary designer in South Africa. Him and Richard de Jager, a really good stylist. With us, we came up with a hat.
With a hat, that was your thing,
Yeah. And he actually he doesn't live in South Africa anymore, but he does a lot of stuff still in South Africa. He has this really cool surf label called Mami Vati. That's really cool. And then You know, and through life, a lot of people have come along. I've Wynand Meiberg, my manager, Drew Madachi, that's a good friend of that's my business manager. He's also, through COVID, helped me so much, helped me survive, helped
Beautiful.
me look at life differently and do different things and focus more on business stuff and not just on creative, and how to tie those together. And I mean, Isaac Newton and these guys, these like original Garlic Brown, these rappers who allowed me to make music and were like supportive, you know, because I was at that stage this weird Afrikaans, white Afrikaans rapper kid from like Belleville, and I was hanging out in like where I was like the only white kid rapping there, and I never felt like uncomfortable. I never felt like ostracized or
they
different.
Shared the same love.
We just shared
there was
love.
No color. There was just love for the art.
Yeah, and you know, yeah, because that was like yeah, and then just I've been. I mean, I can keep going through. There's so many people in my life that have journeyed with me. Yeah.
Different times of your life.
I'm lucky. I've really my sisters as well. I've got a strong family bond and they're really supportive, and they're all really creative. So they help me through everything. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. If you could spend a day with someone, just from the morning, have breakfast, the whole day with someone, doesn't need to be alive. Who would you want to spend the day with?
Just so, I don't know. I mean, I think I'd like to hang out with maybe someone from a musical point of view, like someone like Snoop or someone like that. But I've been lucky enough to actually have played shows with him and have chatted to him. Yeah.
Beautiful.
I've opened for me a few times. I'm very lucky to tour Europe a lot, and I've opened for him like 4 times. I've played with him there.
Wow.
and I actually have my own festival in Holland called Parow Fest.
Beautiful.
And so through that I've kind of gotten to meet a lot of big artists and stuff. So I must say I'm lucky to have
met some of your idols.
Yeah, met some of my idols through my life. I've opened for Eminem in South Africa, even though I didn't get to actually meet him because he meets no one. Even when he sound checked, everyone had to leave the stadium.
Really?
Even the cleaning staff had to leave the stadium. Yeah, there's no one was allowed to be in the stadium when he sound checks, and he's so private. But just being in that space and in that,
you could feel
that
the energy.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah.
That was at what's the stadium?
Belvoir Lions, Ellis Park.
Ellis Park, yeah. That was a crazy.
Yeah.
I loved it. What was your first car? This is after our car channel. What was your first car that you ever owned?
My first car was like a peach Ford Sierra.
Ford Sierra?
Yeah.
XR6?
There's like a 3 liter.
XR6. Oh, nice.
It was like and I was so, and he had like, it was orange obviously originally, but it was now peach from the sun already.
From the sun.
And it was like those things on the back.
The
louvers.
Like
and those smoke screentjies were langs die kant by die venster.
Yes.
And sheep, and the seats were all Murtu, so they put sheep fur cover over it.
Fun in that car, I can tell.
I had fun, but it was such a hectic car. 3 liter bloody Ford Sierra.
Heavy on fuel.
Yeah. And then I had that, and then when that said goodbye, I got my grandmother gave me a City Golf.
Okay.
And then I literally, it's actually super embarrassing. I started this whole thing. Actually, I'm lying. Just before that, I had a Ford, a Toyota Corolla.
Corolla as well.
Yeah. Okay. Classic, those are box shaped ones. And every time I get to my car, there's like a note, like I want to buy it. Because I just was like, thanks, they never break down.
These days, no note. There's just no car. They don't buy it, they just take it.
Yeah, exactly.
Golf, how did you sit in the Golf? I don't know if you guys can see on camera. You're very tall. Did you sit on the back seat?
I was like low riding it.
Ordering McDonald's through the back window. I can imagine that.
Awesome. But Toyota Corolla was my best thing, because it was eventually like they'd stolen my speakers so much that I had my hi-fi speakers that I wired into the wires.
In the boot.
Yeah, and like a classic old diamond type player, which the face couldn't stay on anymore, so I had a stick from the back seat
Holding
through
it
the
in.
middle, holding the face of the thing on the front. So that it was, it was but it was the best. And then, but my funniest story about a car is I then got my grandmother's City Golf.
What color?
A red one.
Red, nice.
And then that whole thing happened, and Coolers Ekke blew up and all these things. And then I got had a few too many refreshments in Cape Town. I had to fly to Joburg for the MK something. I think it was like MK Awards or something. And I got to the airport, or someone drove me to the airport, and then I took my bags out the back of the boot, and I flew, came back, and I couldn't find my keys. I'm like, where's my keys? I can't find them. And then I'd left them in, and then I was like, oh, my car's also gone. And then I'd left my keys in the boot of the car.
Oh, no.
And then, like 10 years later, they phoned me. They're like, we have your car. It's obviously like a completely different car. It's like, now the doors are like green, and the flipping, it's like into its motor.
Did you go and fix
But then
the
I
car?
went and that was the insurance. I just needed to say,
Oh,
like, it's
okay,
my
the
car. I'm
insurance
like,
took it.
this is obviously not my car anymore. How much I know this is my car.
Yeah.
But yeah, this used to be my car. And then it was actually, and then I actually posted about it, and it was on the front page of the Burger actually, that I got my grandmother's car back after such a long time.
My first car was also a red Golf.
Oh, is it?
100%.
Nice.
Yeah. So, favorite book? Are you a big reader? Do you enjoy reading?
I think my favorite book, I'll say, I don't read that much. I listen to a lot of audiobooks because I'm traveling a lot, so I do that. And I guess my groot like I guess I'm the guy that will watch the movie and not read the book kind of a thing.
Me too.
I want to. I don't think I necessarily always get time, but. I think the book that meant that I was the most into in my life, and I got the most into, is actually The Hobbit.
The Hobbit.
Yeah, which is the prequel to Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
And that was my voorgeskrewe book in school, and I was so obsessed with it.
I can see why. It's a creative movie. It's just fairy tale. I can see why.
Yeah, the book was the best. I did like a bunch of like I drew like a whole comic book out of it that I did for school projects and so on. I was like obsessed with it for like, I still love it, but I mean, I was obsessed with it for like, say like 8 years of my life. I was like really into it, yeah. And then the movies came, but then The Hobbit, they just put like another character that's not even in the book, and they changed it, so it wasn't as, it was a bit disappointing.
So sometimes it's better to read the book and not watch the movie.
It is. It's always, everyone always says that though.
What's your dream car? If money was no object and you don't need to take your daughter anywhere, it's just you, what's your dream car?
I like really old
school,
like cruisers, like just Cadillacs, like big,
the Impalas, the Chevy Impala.
Okay. That's my vibe, yeah.
Awesome.
So like a Chevy Impala, for example, is one of my dream cars, and I will eventually get one.
Of course you will. I hope you get two, sir.
Yeah, I also just have to. I used to be. I acted as a mechanic with a friend of mine.
Really?
Yeah, when I was really young. When I was like 18, 19, just for like a bit of something to do while I was, because I always wanted an old car even from then. And my dad was like, you can't have an old car if you don't know how to even bloody change the oil. So then I was like, okay,
that's great advice, by the way.
Yeah. And then, but then he still didn't buy me an old car. He just bought me an old new car, a Ford Sierra.
Heavy on fuel, 3 liter. Yeah. I've had so much fun. I want you to please tell the audience what's happening new in your life, like what's coming up, what are we excited about, when, where, how, where do we come see you, where are you going to be performing? I'm always performing. I'm touring. That's the best place, is just to go on my Instagram and you prefer
Facebook
Instagram and Facebook?
Yeah, Instagram. Instagram and Facebook. Actually, both I'm very active on. But so you can see all the shows there and stuff. I'm like, now that restrictions are being lifted and more, I'm touring a bit more, and especially now from February, and then my new album starts. I'm doing it. I've actually decided to do 12 songs over 12 months. Okay. So my birthday this year is on the 22nd of the 2nd, 2022. So it's 22022022. So it's quite a crazy number, and it's
Very.
like a strong number. So my first single I'm releasing on that day.
On your birthday.
Yeah, and then I will release a single on every 22nd of every month till February next year. So
Beautiful.
then there'll be an album out, and we'll do like a bunch of stuff, and it's called die geloof van goeie, die evangelie van goeie tye. The Gospel of Good Times, and it's just I'm super excited about that.
Can't wait.
I've been wanting to do an album for so long again, and I just haven't had the time. And then in COVID, everyone was like, "Did you write 1 million songs?" I was like, "No, I slept 1 million hours."
Yeah.
It was so amazing.
I caught up with the sleep that I gave you guys.
And I slept so much. I had such a nice rest. It was really good. So now I'm ready to work and to attack again hard, and that's probably the biggest thing. I'm also bringing out. No one actually knows, but I can announce it with you guys. Is I'm bringing out a box wine, but a really cool one.
Yes.
It's called Heeltyd Speeltyd,
Beautiful.
and it's really amazing.
When's it coming out?
It's coming out hopefully by my birthday as well.
Okay, that's now. That's in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and it's got I can't tell it. It's got a very special thing. It's the first thing. It's the first one in the world to have it,
Wow.
which I don't want to give away yet.
First one in the world.
Yeah, to have that style of how it works, and the wine inside is award-winning wine, so it's really quite high quality wine in a box shape, in a box.
Beautiful.
So it's lekker for like a jol, and you can go and you can because it's if you're walking into a party with 5 liters of wine in bottles, people are like, "This dude's alcoholic." But if you walk in there with a 5 liter of wine, then everyone's like, "Yes, but take it."
Yeah, you know you mean business when you're walking around with a box on. Beautiful, beautiful. That's super exciting. Well, you heard it first here. Can't wait. I'm really excited. Sir, it's been a treat.
Pleasure is mine, man. Thank you.
I feel your energy, your calmness, your the spirit animal of being a leopard. I can feel it. The time when a leopard needs to do his thing, you're on stage and you wild and you do your thing. Everybody roars, and you're just a chill dude afterwards. You're sitting down, you're relaxed. It's been an honor spending time with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are truly in the presence of greatness. I really enjoyed this interview, and I hope you did too. Thank you. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.